Hey, good morning. Yes, it is. It's Sunday. And I decided maybe we should start like a Sunday sermon, according to Eric. I was thinking about this yesterday afternoon. And I thought, why not just get it out and let other people hear it? Because I think we all need to hear it at some time or another. Sometimes you're not ready to hear it, right? But let's see where this goes. All right, welcome back. What are we talking about today? Well, the Sunday sermon is just that. Before all you guys start running for the high country or, grabbing your phones and going off and doing something else, this is just about everyday sort of life and who we are and what defines us. And I got to thinking yesterday about, because I had talked about, going downstate for the holidays and stuff. And I had heard of homelessness. And I actually had seen some of it on TV. But you gotta remember, I'm from the country. And this just doesn't happen up here. And it doesn't happen up here is because we're very acute with our surroundings. And when a person's down, you try to help them up, alright? Now, I'm not saying that somebody gets hooked on drugs or is a drug dealer, we should give them breaks and stuff. I'm not saying that at all. Because I feel that drug abuse, alcohol abuse, gambling, all that stuff is a choice. But when I was downstate that one year, the first year I went downstate for, I think it was Christmas. And we always stayed through Christmas and through New Year's and then left like on the 2nd, that following morning. That way we weren't hitting rush hour traffic of trying to get down and then get back. It took our own time. But while I was down there, I had to get gas for the truck. So it'd be all ready to go on January 2nd that morning. And I was filling the truck up. And I watched a lady walk by me pushing a shopping cart with a bunch of plastic bags in it. And whether people were just so accustomed to seeing it, I know they saw her because they give her a wide berth, right? So after I got my gas, I went up the road, and there was this parking area. I parked in there. I was waiting for her to come up through. And every trash can that she came to, every dumpster she came to, she was digging through that. And I know one dumpster, she pulled out something because she started eating it. Now, I like to watch people because I am acutely aware of my surroundings and what people are doing and acting and so forth. Because I like interaction. I study interaction. I watch people that are good at interactions and try to learn from them. And I also listen to people tell me about interactions that I've never had because I've never been exposed to it. So this was going to be one of those interactions, right? I contemplated back and forth as I watched her go up through. You know, why no one even give her a second look other than to stay clear of her and her cart like she had the plague. Now, before you go faulting and everything, this is no slight on the folks in Yonkers. Not one iota. Because my father-in-law, later that day, drove me around down in the city. He said, "You want to see homelessness? I'll show you homelessness." And it was everywhere. Because it gotten towards evening, and some were laying up on the, government steps to courthouses and stuff, trying to curl up with blankets. And so why aren't they being taken care of? Why aren't they in shelters and stuff? He said, because there's no place for them to go. They're full. But as I watched the older lady earlier in the day, I motioned to her because I had debated whether I should do anything or not because nobody else was. And I didn't know what the deal was. I knew nothing about her except she looked like she was hungry. She could have been a drug addict for all I know. I don't know. But I got out of the truck and I motioned to her to come over across the street. And she was reluctant at first. I said, "I want to help you. Get over here." But she wouldn't leave that cart over there. She grabbed her cart and pushed it over to the sidewalk in front of where I had my truck parked. And she looked scared. And I said, "Are you hungry?" And she said, "Yes." So I reached in and I gave her a $20 bill. I said, "Is that enough for you to go get something to eat?" And let me first start off by saying $20 isn't much money in my eyes, my book. But in her eyes, it was like I gave her $1 million. And to this day, when it comes around the holiday, I think of her and reflect on how most people are, During that period in time, most people were complaining about their Christmas gifts, that it wasn't big enough. They weren't worried about a place to stay or a place to be warm or something to eat. No, they had all that. And if I would have offered one of them $20, it wouldn't have meant squat to them, right? But it did to this homeless gal, I should say. She looked like she was in her 50s. I don't know why she was homeless. I didn't get into it. She was, very thankful and want to know if she could do something for me. And I said that it's all about helping you. But I can remember that ride with my father-in-law when we went down into the New York City. And some of the things that stuck out, he told me, he said, "Lock your door and roll your window up. We're going through the Bronx." So why is that? So, well, that way people can't, rip the door open and try to get money. And I had seen on the news, with these drive-by shootings down in the city and the boroughs and stuff. But I was so far away from it that I couldn't relate. But now I was down there and I was thinking about it. And I remember the one guy where there's like a medium in the road, right? And there's a guy there with a stack of newspapers. So I asked my father-in-law, I said, what's he doing? He said, well, he's got clientele, people that are going to work in the city, like Wall Street and all that. He's selling them papers as they come through so they don't have to stop and grab a paper. He's got the paper. He's made his own little niche market. I said, neat. And then there was the guy that jumped out with a water bottle and was spraying the windshield and washing it off, wanting money for doing it. And I can't remember. I think it was like $3 is what he wanted. I give him the $3. My father-in-law said, you should never roll your window down. You should never give him the $3. And kind of like, why? And he said, you can't reward bad behavior. And as we drove around, he wanted to show me, like on some of the exit ramps where you come off the bridges and stuff, there'd be people with signs wanting, homeless, need money, and they would run out in traffic and people giving them money, right? And most of them were tourists that were coming through. It wasn't the true blue city folks, because they also were somewhat keen to the surroundings. And my father-in-law pointed this out to me. He said, you need to be able to spot the hustle from the real deal. I said, hustle? He goes, yeah, the hustle. He said, one of the telltale signs of the hustle is look at the shoes they're wearing. A lot of the ones wearing Nikes are doing this as a hustle. They've made this their career because they can make more money in the morning and the afternoon of sitting on these off-ramps than they could by going to work. And they were getting money under false pretense. And he said many of them had beautiful apartments and stuff like that. And that's how they made their income. So I started looking as we're going around the off-ramps. And he was right. Most of them had like brand new sneakers on. He said, that's the hustle. He said the ones that aren't hustling so much are the ones that have the sign that says homeless, willing to work for food. Not cash, food. The ones with the Nikes on don't want food. They got plenty of food to home in the refrigerator and freezer. They want cash. Cash only. But that's because a lot of folks like my father-in-law, my in-laws, and my sister-in-laws, they were acutely aware of their surroundings. And the people that were trying to hustle you instead of, as far as I'm concerned, if you're hustling like that, then you're taking advantage of good people, right? If you're taking money under false pretense, then does it make it right? I mean, in my eyes, it says no. If you take or do anything under false pretense, I think is wrong. So I just want you to reflect on that for a minute, because if you're in that mode right now, because we just got done with Christmas and we just got through New Year's, and we're into the first couple of weeks of the new year. The stuff that you're upset with right now or being pissed off about right now, how does that stack up to the gal with the shopping cart? And what your needs are and what her needs were. And yes, it's still going on. Homelessness. Especially with these, sharp spike in drug abuse. But let me say, a lot of homelessness is not caused from people who are doing drugs. A lot of times, it's the rate of inflation, like California, housing prices skyrocketed when they moved a lot of your tech companies down there. And people couldn't afford to rent anymore. So they end up out on the street, trying to figure out what to do. And yeah, some people made poor choices and it put them there. But what I want you to reflect on is not what put them there. It's that you could be that person. No one is immune, I'm telling you right now, from making a wrong decision, having things take place that are out of your control. And that's why I was saying, I think it's better sometimes that people will get more rounded, a better individual, if they learn to go without. Because once you've gone without, you definitely appreciate what you have. And don't get me wrong, I've gone without. I mean, I've lived on ramen noodles for months at a time, and it was like a nice thick prime rib to get some bread with peanut butter on it. But we do what we have to do when we're in that situation, right? Take a look around. Is there someone that could use a helping hand? Someone that's less fortunate? I hear how folks think money will make your life better. And I'm not saying money's bad. Not at all. We all need money, right? But I'm saying that it's all about being in the correct mindset. A friend of mine, when we were talking about human interaction, and this was years ago, and he said, if you want to brighten somebody's day, smile. Just smile at them. And when you smile, count how many times people smile back at you. So I tried his idea in the grocery store because at that time I wasn't really very outgoing per se. I was kind of introvert maybe. But with smiling, it caused 9 out of 10 people to smile back. And for some reason, when I smiled, it made me feel better. And they would smile in return. But it's hard to do that these days because people are so focused on their phones instead of people around them. You gotta put your phones down for a while, or you're gonna miss so much. when it comes to people and interactions. And one of the other things that I do is Claude's same way. If we meet anybody on the road when we're driving, we wave. If I'm down outside of the shop, car goes by, I wave. If I'm at my house, I wave. If I'm in my tractor, I wave. They're probably thinking, who's that old fart that waves at us, right? But I can remember this younger girl. She just out of high school going to college. It was a new person. I didn't know who she was. And when she would go by at a certain time, and when I first started waving at her, she'd give the kind of, should I wave? Should I not wave? Who is this old fart? And as time went by, her hand got higher and higher, right? To wave back. And then within a month, she was waving as she went by. And within a month and a half to 2 months, if she didn't see us, she would blow the horn if I had my back to her and then wave. But yet we never stopped to have a conversation. I noticed her. I waved to her. Good gesture. And one of the reasons I do that, not only because I enjoy being around people, but a new face and stuff. If you break down on the side of the road, I don't want you afraid that you can't ask somebody on our street to help you, because we will help you. But try something like that. What do you think about what I've said so far? What are your thoughts on it? Put them in the comments. Well, I'm going to start wrapping this up. The Sunday sermon, I'm trying to decide on a title for it, whether I should put homelessness as a side hustle or, appreciate what you have. What I want you to take away from this is, one, it will make you feel good to help others. Two, be careful of who you help, because as my father-in-law showed me, there are people out there that are misrepresenting themselves as in need under false pretense, that are out there hustling. I also want you to appreciate what you have instead of what you don't have, and be thankful that what you have, and compared to the gal with a shopping cart. Because I think sometimes we forget, or we've never experienced it, of going without. And that's why I said in the video, I think people would be better equipped, more rounded, if they had to at least go without for a period in their life. All right? Because if you go without, the tendency to appreciate what you have instead of what you don't have is more prevalent. But that's not to say that you, as you start getting stuff and gaining momentum, that you don't fall into that trap of bitching and complaining about what you don't have. Because nobody's immune. I'm telling you right now. So on that note, you guys have a great Sunday, and we'll see you here bright and early tomorrow morning.